Welcome to All Things Geekery, the podcast dedicated to exploring the vast world of geeky hobbies and discussing all the random topics in between. And welcome to the show. Welcome back to the All Things Geekery podcast, guys. It has been quite some time since myself and Victus have been able to record. We've had quite the busy schedule lately, especially myself, and Victus has recently had his first child. And it's been quite the wild ride for both of us. So this is the first official ATG podcast of 2017, and we're getting back together to discuss Destiny 2 and our potential wish list of things that we would love to see that would come back to the game. So let's jump into this. I'm your host, Iogro, and my co-host,
Victus Darkaero.
And like I said, he is back for the first time, so let's jump right into this, guys. We want to welcome all of you to the show. Thank you so much for joining in with us, and we appreciate all the support. So, Destiny 2, it's coming out this fall 2017. We have almost a year to wait for it. It's gonna
Well, at least we hope a year.
Yeah, at least. If we know Bungie, there could be potential delays. I'm pretty sure there will be because they're just known for that. But wish list items, there are so many things to talk about. I don't even know where to start, honestly. I would have to say some wish list items. I think it's going to cross over between what we get right now and what we want when it actually comes out. I think those are just going to be a big cross, and I think a lot of people are in the same boat right now. You know, the clan that we've got, the people that we watch, the people that we play with. You know, I really do have to say, I think the fixes that are coming with this new hotfix, the 2.5.0 something or another, is going to make a lot of people happy with the weapon balances and the fixes to the meta inside the Crucible. I think that'll probably give people a little freshness inside the Crucible since we don't have a lot of content right now to actually play. We've got the Crucible, and again, there's still a lot of people that are new to Destiny. There's a lot of people still coming in for Year 3. And there's a lot of people, we've even got one in our clan, who played a lot through Year 1, and then, you know, life happens. He took a break and didn't play anything through all of Year 2 and has just now come back to Year 3, and it's a whole brand new game to him. He was quite surprised with all the changes.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've talked to a lot of people, and they're pretty hardcore. They've got into it. Every expansion, they're hitting max level like week 1. You know, and then after that, they're maybe going out and collecting stuff or collecting the new exotics, and that's it. You're done. I mean, yeah, you can PvP. Yeah, you can go to Lighthouse and in Trials. But again, you know, you do it or you don't, and then that's it. You know, come around weekend, you haven't played Destiny because you've done all you can. You're 400 on all 3 tunes. You've got all or 99% of the exotics, and now we're just kind of all the hardcores out there just kind of sitting around waiting. There's nothing in the game right now that has a prolonged grind to it, and not just one that's monotonous. Like, you think about the crafting systems in a lot of the big MMOs; those take time. You can't just 1 week be, you know, max level. For those that have no life, yes, you can. But normal people
with babies, no.
Normal people with children cannot do that. And Destiny just doesn't have those type of elements in them that require you to put in that much time and actually have a prolonged period of time where you're working on something. You're working on a project. There's no project in the game that requires that much time.
Well, and I think that comes to the point of, like you said, the prolonged life of really what Destiny's going for, and it's this hybrid MMO first-person shooter. And I think, you know, this is the first of its kind. There's never really been a game quite like this. I think Bungie did the best that they possibly could with it being first of its kind. You know, vanilla Destiny was very buggy. And
Yep.
I came in the beta. I was one of the beta guys that decided, hey, I got invited, let's come play this thing. I ripped him a new one when I first played the thing. I didn't enjoy it whatsoever. I gave it a good solid couple of months worth of play after the game first came out, and I just didn't like it. It wasn't until year 2 when I actually picked the game back up and started playing again, and just fell in love with it. So yeah, there's a lot of wishlist items. I think myself, you included, we've seen over the past probably year, and I think to start with things of other popular games that we play, the prolonged life of an MMO. To give you an example, I'm bringing Lotro in. You know me, Lord of the Rings is dear to my heart, and Lotro is getting ready to celebrate its 10th anniversary. 10th. It's almost unheard of to hear of a MMO celebrate 10 years. There's very few of them that ever have. And Lotro has got a lifespan that it's one of those games that are probably near and dear to people's heart because of Tolkien and the world that he created. People that are very hardcore to the game, it's very similar to Destiny. They come in and they're material eaters. I mean, these guys come in and they grind and they grind and they grind and they grind. They hit max level and there's nothing else for them to do. They don't enjoy any other aspect of the game. And the same with the Destiny guys. They feed on this content. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying that it's easy to come in and grind that material, but it kind of kills the purpose of the game too. The purpose of the game isn't to come in and blow through material as fast as you possibly can. Destiny was originally designed to be a community-based game. It's to get together with your clanmates, enjoy the fun, hang out, and work together as a team to go do this. And people are doing that. Look at the first raid that happened with the new Wrath Against the Machine. The first team that did it, I think, took them 5 or 6 hours. That's 5 or 6 hours of 6 people that got together to figure this thing out. Now, was it a year 2 raid like the mechanic?
Crota?
Yeah, Crota and even Oryx. I think the mechanics were just a lot more complicated in both of those than they were this one. This one is just more of a fun, casual raid. But I think one of those items of want is people want more big content like they saw with the Rise of Iron. They didn't want just a raid and a few new weapons and a couple of small little stories. They only got 5 missions with the new expansion. They want it all. They want this big elaborate story that talks about not only what happened to Siva, they want what's going to happen with Oryx and Crota and Vault of Glass and how's all this going to culminate into a new game. But then you've got this whole piece of the lore of Destiny as well. And that's something that Bungie, though they are fantastic at writing a story and creating the lore, I have to compare that to what I know as being a fantastic MMO that does good at bringing lore into the game, and that's Lotro. Now, if you take the lore of Lotro, they kind of had it pre-laid out from a manual. J.R.R. Tolkien wrote those epic books, and he laid that story out for him, and the lore was there. Now, the company that took it and originally created it and gave us the game, they did a fantastic job of implementing that lore into the game and really drawing the player's attention to the lore. The raids, the missions, the crafting, the leveling, all of that was secondary. The story is really what brought people to Lotro, and I think Destiny has been just the opposite. You've got the story of the game, but then the leveling, the raiding, the sucking all the material dry became first, because it's a first-person shooter. And that's what you do in FPSs. You jump in and you shoot and loot. And yes, this is a looter, and yes, you get great gear for going and doing it, but where's the fine balance between I want to make an MMO and a hybrid first-person shooter with this huge lore story in between, but the only way we can get to it is through Grimoire cards. So I think my first wishlist item is bringing the lore to the story and making the story more about the aspect of gameplay and really bringing the player to the game, to whereas the players are now, they're involved with what the lore is, they're involved with the creation of this story, instead of I'm just going in to play a first-person shooter.
Well, yeah, let's imagine a Destiny where instead of having the Grimoires, which are, if you add up all the lore that's in the Grimoires, massive amount of information, massive. But let's think about a Destiny where the Grimoires were accessible in game. You had a database. You had a database you could go to in game, and at any time you could pull up your Grimoire cards and take a look at them. I just unlocked a Grimoire card for my Icebreaker. Okay. Oh, look at the lore about the Icebreaker, or a little snippet of a saying from one of the Titans that created it, or Guardians that created it, so on and so forth. Then you get to understand it. You just go, oh, another exotic, put that in the bank. It has some weight to it.
Yeah, it's not just another item to go get.
Or, oh, another Grimoire card. Whoop, that's plus 10 on my Grimoire score. Yay.
Right.
So.
I agree. I agree with you there. I think the need of the feed of people that play the game, and I mean feed as in, gamers are kind of like vampires. They play it until it's sucked dry. They really do. Myself included. There is almost no game that has ever been created that was meant to be a everlasting experience. There's always an end story, potentially. There are some games out there that just, they don't end. In some of those, like MMOs, they continually create stories and they bring out expansions and they bait the hook and people jump on board. And, that creates some of those wants and needs from other people because they have, oh, this is what I want in the game. And, sometimes the gaming companies listen to those forums. They read and see what the people are actually looking for. And I respect that about the gaming companies. Like you said, for people that are just out to go loot and shoot, and I think Destiny's a great game for that. But I think the people that are really intentional about the stories, and you think about some of the content creators out there that really dig into those Grimoire cards, to have a database, like you said, to go dig into that, to be able to create those kind of stories that we latch onto. It was almost like reading a book that really draws us in and makes us feel like we're part of those characters. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of attached to my characters that I made in Destiny. Just like my characters inside Lotro or any other MMO that I've created. You kind of make an attachment to some of those because you create them and you form them and you shape them and you play with them. And, I think one of those things that a lot of people inside Destiny want or need is that community. So wrapped around the community base, I think Destiny's done an okay job so far, but I think one of their biggest lacks inside the game is focused on the communities on the inside of the game. They've got forums and stuff for people to talk in. They've got, apps and stuff that they can get a hold of. But like you said, if there's some type of database that people inside the actual groups can get a hold of, or if when they're actually inside the game, they have some type of community grouping that they can get together with, and they can actually do an in-game LFG that's not, inside the Xbox app, or they're out on Google and they're typing in something. They can actually be in the game at that point in time. One of my biggest wants, I don't think it'll ever happen, but it would be sweet if it did, would be clan vault spaces. Instead of just a personal vault space, if your clan had a vault space. Hey, you've got 7,000 of this material because you played the game for 3 years and you're a hoarder like myself and you don't use it, then drop it in the clan vault space and allow maybe a clan leader or somebody that has the ability to shuffle that stuff around, they can distribute materials amongst just the clan. I think that would be a great one to need.
Well, and that brings a good point. Is the clan system was a very underused system of Destiny.
Yeah.
You joined a clan and you went and beat raids with it, and that was it. You didn't really do much else with the clans, so it just kind of sat there. You had the name of your clan in your tag, and that was it.
Yeah, I think, take for instance the kinships per se, or a clan from a big MMO. The kinship that we've got over in Lotro, and I know I keep comparing it to MMOs because, again, this is a hybrid MMO. It's what they've tried to do with it. The kinship that we have, they have multiple aspects to the clan and to the kin. They've got, community gatherings because they're able to go do multiple things in the game other than just raids and instances. They've got the aspect of kind of immersing the characters inside the game to play music, do events, skits if they want. There's everything you can think of. They've got crafting days. Now, would I ever want to see crafting come into Destiny? Heck no. My gosh, I would rip all my hair out if I had to go grind for materials inside Destiny. It's a grindy game anyways, and I'm okay with that because it's the nature of the beast. But to take a grindy game that's a looter and shooter and add another topping of, now you have to go find materials, and then you have to build your crafting materials, and then you have to go do these specific things. Would it bring an interesting layer to the game? It would, but I don't think it's the right fit. Now, is it the right fit for MMOs? Yes, absolutely, because that's part of that sustainable atmosphere that you have for an MMO. It's what you do in MMOs. You grind, you craft, you level characters, and you go beat the crap out of bad guys. That's just what you do. In this game, you shoot and loot, and your loot is instantly there. That's the grind of the game. But I think as a whole, the kinship, clan, whatever you want to call it, I think there needs to be some features there that make it more of a community for people. The actual system that we use to invite people, the community level that we use to communicate with people, the sharing of stuff among people. I mean, for goodness sakes, I have got like 5 of every weapon you can possibly think of in my vault right now. Why? I don't know. I stick things in my vault, I forget about them, and I don't ever use them. Or it's something that I really enjoyed. Maybe it was my God rolled Treads Upon the Stars. It's a fantastic scout rifle, but that archetype scout rifle in Destiny right now is not very popular. It doesn't work well with the meta inside Crucible, and there's just other weapons that are better inside some of the PvE stuff as well. So it gets stuck in the vault, but hey, I've got 4 of these, and we've got a new guy on the team. He's never used it before, but he's the right level for it. Then maybe if we had a feature of, hey, we can share amongst each other, not just through a vault system, but maybe you can click on a specific guardian in your clan, and you can trade with him. Here's a weapon, here's a new piece of gear for you. I think that'd be a great feature to have.
Yeah, but we do have to keep in mind we're comparing. I was thinking along the exact same routes. We keep comparing to what current MMOs on the market, but what Destiny has done is they've created their own path.
That's true. Very true.
And with that path, we don't know what actually needs to fit right now. Yes, we say we want this, we want that, and in our minds they'd be really good fits. But what would be a good Destiny fit to the game? We get to talking about Destiny 2 and what we want for it. We want more classes, great. We want more story, great. But what would be the Destiny fit to it, because we keep comparing to other games. And I think that's where a lot of people forget about that, myself included, when we start wanting things to be added.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. But we really don't have anything else to compare against except other games that we've played. Now, to take all of that aside, and you say, okay, let's just put a wish list together of things that we want, not thinking of any other game that we have. If we just take the Destiny Foundation that we've seen and what they've done with the game itself. If you look at it, you were a Destiny 1 player. You came in at vanilla just like I did. So you got to see the foundation of the game and how it morphed and how it changed. And for goodness sakes, I wish that people that play the game now could have experienced Destiny 1. They should have been there for year one. There was no such thing as going to the Vanguard Crucible guys and bartering for materials. You couldn't go use legendary marks. You had to go find that junk in the world. And here was the funny thing is, oh, you need more spin metal? Well, go farm it for 4 hours. And guess what? That was probably enough to upgrade one thing on a weapon. That wasn't multiple weapons. That was one weapon or one piece of armor. And that type of grinding right there really, that kind of facets exactly what MMOs do. You go grind iron ore for 4 hours and you make enough for a full set of gear or something. That piece I do enjoy. Did I enjoy it in Destiny 1? Heck no. I wanted to get out there and shoot and loot. So I think, taking all other games aside, the first 3 things that I would love to see in Destiny. 1, I think the weapon systems that we've got right now, I think need a complete overhaul. I really do. I think we've got some amazing weapons inside our exotic list that we've got, but there's a lot of exotic weapons that aren't used because they're trash. They don't fit well. They don't play well. They've kind of been broken over the years. They've been nerfed to the ground. They've been buffed in the wrong ways. So I think bringing some of those exotics weapons back into our loot categories where we can start using them and go, wow, did you play with that gun the other day? Did you see how it worked and how it felt? Because if you look at most of the legendary meta weapons that are out there right now, they actually outperform the exotic weapons. It's just the way the balancing has happened. Yeah, and I think the same thing has happened with our exotic gear. There are so many pieces of gear inside the game, it's not even funny. But a lot of the exotic armor is just outdated, it's old, it's rusted. The perks on it don't even work well anymore. Take for instance, there is a pair of legs for the Titan, and I can't think of the name of them right now, but the perk on them is they give you a boost to your shoulder charge while you're in the air. How many Titans do you see inside the Crucible jumping all day long to shoulder charge people?
Right.
You're not going to find it because it's outdated, it's old, people don't use it. So I think Destiny as a game, Bungie needs to come in and say, all right, here's the usage of people and what they're doing with these things. Either give this stuff an overhaul, get it out of the game and give us something new to replace those items, or just rehaul the item and give us some different perk levels within armor. I think my third thing out of every is bringing a system to the story. What happened with the Siva story is fantastic. I loved Rise of Iron. I loved being a part of the Iron Lords and getting all of that. But we went from, all right, Siva's been broken out. Oh, we found Siva. Oh, Siva's dead. And it happened within what felt like 30 seconds.
Yeah, 5 missions.
Yeah, 5 missions. Oh, Siva's dead now. Where do we go with that? So Bungie has really left this massive void for the rest of the year. What are we getting for Destiny 2, where there's so many rumors and different naysays about where we go, what's going to happen. And then we do have some of the DLCs are going to be coming out. They have promised that the live team is working on more material throughout the year that we will be seeing come to us. But nobody even has a clue as to what that's going to be. There's just a lot of questions out there, but I think those would be my big 3 wish list items.
So it's kind of hard to break it down to just 3, but because we could be at it all day. I think my big one is wherever your lore is, make sure it's accessible in game.
I agree.
That's my probably biggest, number one. Whatever your lore system, whether it turns out to be bad, good, whatever, it needs to be accessible in game.
You hear this, Bungie? We're telling you right now, this is what you should be doing. So a live team, I know you're listening to this somewhere on the internet. Hear that?
Yep, this is what should have happened day one on Destiny. Really should have. And I think that would have helped out Destiny 1 with a lot of the criticism that it was getting. So, number 1, that. Number 2, more classes. I think limited down to 3 classes kind of hindered them in their full ability of what was there in lore.
Yeah, I agree.
How they're going to fit more classes in now in the structure? No idea.
Yeah, I have no clue how that would even work.
Because you got a pretty firm foundation that there are 3 factions, basically. The Warlocks, the Hunters, and the Titans.
Well, hang on. Now, coming from a lore guy, there's actually more factions than just the 3 that we have right now. There was another faction that was originally part of the group, and there was I believe he was a Titan. No, he was not a Titan. They just called him a Guardian, but his name was Lysander. And he did have a faction that was part of the Vanguard, but he was corrupt, and he actually became rogue. So I think there was originally more than just the 3, but what we see in game right now is just 3, and I could go on and on and on and on. But
right, and I think I used the wrong terminology there. Not so much like Future War Cult, but classes.
The classes, yes.
3 classes, and that's what I was meaning, because you have your Hunters, which are specialized, you have your Warlocks, which are specialized, and you have Titans, the defenders of the wall. Each one had their set in the current universe, but how they would introduce 3 more, maybe there might be a hybrids. That might be really interesting if that were to come into play, but something more. I get this could be 3. I get why they limited it to just 3 characters, because there was only 3 classes you could pick from, but that seemed like a very unnecessary limitation on just being able to create 3 characters to do that. Ties into, I assume, their limited server sizes.
Yeah, so I think that was probably one of the leading factors.
And that makes sense, but then that ties into, let's say, request 3.5. Bigger community areas, more community areas.
Yeah.
Let's, instead of just having an availability of 16 people or however it is right now, let's have a tower full of people. Let's have a reef full of people. I get it. Small area, you had a couple vendors there. Yes. Let's get more. Let's have a full, live, energetic community running around, all different types of people. It brings some life to it.
Yeah.
Instead of every time you warp in, you find guardians that keep messing with the big purple balls in the tower.
Hey, I like kicking the soccer ball around the tower just like any other guardian, but I do agree.
Yep.
That's one of the most annoying things is, hey, come join me at the tower, and you join them. Oh, tower's full because it only holds 3 guardians at a time, right?
Right.
Granted, I know server space is a premium, and you got to have the blades to be able to do it. But look, There are lots and lots and lots of other gaming companies that have made social spaces inside games hold hundreds, if not thousands of people at the same time, and they're all within layers upon top of layers with each other. Now, granted, we're working on consoles, we're not working with PCs, and that could bring in the whole battle of, consoles are better than PCs, PCs are better than consoles, but that doesn't change the technology that's used on the back end with it. The PC gaming, your hardware that you use on the front side may be a lot different, but the back end blade servers and the technology that runs that is the same darn thing that you would play on the Microsoft Xbox or the PlayStation. It doesn't matter. So, I do agree. I think there's definitely a lot of stuff coming in. There's definitely a lot of wants and wishes, but we shall see what Destiny 2 brings us in the very near future, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping at GuardianCon we're going to get a little sneak peek of Destiny 2.
That would be sweet, wouldn't it? That would be amazing.
But that's a hope.
That is a hope, yes. Well, guys, that wraps up the show for this evening. Guys, we thank you so much. I know we have a lot of wants, needs, wishes about gaming, and there's so many different topics and things that we could chat about, but after being out for quite some time, this was really one of the first things that we wanted to talk about. Destiny is near and dear to our hearts. So, you guys let us know what you want from Destiny 2. Let us know your wishes and comments, and shoot us those. Let us know what you're thinking. We'd love to hear from you. But until next time, guys, I'm Iogro.
And I'm Victus.
Thanks for stopping by and listening today, guys. We really appreciate your support. Drop us a like, give us a comment, and let us know how we're doing. Stop by and check us out on our website at www.allthingsgeekery.com. You can also find us on our YouTube and Twitter. Just look up All Things Geekery. We'd love to hear from you, and we'll see you in the next episode.